Hey, what's up everyone? Coach Roel here. And in this video, I wanted to actually take you out into the field, which is why I've got a little bit of a different background here. It's not a virtual background, it's an actual real background for once, funny enough. And we're in the warehouse for one of my other businesses, kitchen cabinet store business. And in this video, I wanted to take you into the psyche of a consumer or a customer of a self-storage facility. And a few weeks ago, I actually thought, I have a personal story or personal experience from the other side of the table and actually being a customer of self-storage. So to kind of paint a bit of a picture here, so we all know that this whole pandemic thing, the new normal, has changed the way everybody is living these days in many different ways. And on the self-storage side, one of the myths, I guess myths, but stereotypes is that the only people who use self-storage are people who have a lot of junk, they're like hoarders or mini hoarders and people that just can't get rid of stuff. Well, some of that may actually be accurate in some cases. There are some people like myself, like yours truly, who need self-storage not to just store our junk, but for business purposes. And so I'll kind of take you back. One of my businesses, as I mentioned, is a cabinet company, and a couple of our other real estate investments here in Orlando, Florida, and surrounding area are short-term vacation rentals. So we had a few of those. And since the pandemic hit, actually all of our short-term rentals were empty for several weeks. And so as a business owner slash investor, I was thinking to myself, my wife and I were thinking, well, what can we do? What was our backup plan? We always have at least a plan B, if not a plan B, and a plan C for everything that we do. And in the case of our short-term rentals, whenever we were looking at acquiring another property, we would always think, would this work as a long-term rental and still cash flow? And if that was a yes, and if it could also be rented out as a short-term vacation rental, like an Airbnb type of thing, then those were two very big factors. So fortunately, we had a backup plan for our short-term rental properties, and we were converting a few of them to long-term rentals. And if you can imagine, a short-term rental would come fully furnished. The washrooms, the kitchen especially, would come fully stocked with all the kitchen equipment, linens, towels, bed sheets, and supplies, etc., etc. So when converting that to a long-term rental, even if it's a furnished long-term rental, then all the kitchen items have to be taken out. All of our kitchen items would be taken out, and our linens would be taken out, so that it would make room for the long-term tenant to bring in their own personal kitchen items, their coffee maker, if they will, small appliances, their own linens, their own towels, etc. So that means when we cleared out a couple of our units to accommodate long-term tenants, even though we left the furniture, like the large items there, we had to take out a whole bunch of the other furnishings, not necessarily the furniture, but the furnishings. So where did we put it? Well, we have this kitchen cabinet business, as I mentioned, and I am standing in the warehouse for one of the store locations that we have. And so we thought, we have some extra space here that we're not always using, so let's just store our stuff. And here's the big reveal. It's starting to grow, the extra stuff that we have from our short-term vacation rentals. And you can see it here behind me. There's a steadily growing pile of stuff, boxes and vacuum cleaner, and actually that's my son's little bicycle there. But there's a bunch of garbage bags there, which ironically enough is not garbage, but they're full of clean linens and towels from our short-term vacation rental units. I think there's about 2 or 3 units worth of stuff there, and in those boxes are kitchen utensils and small appliances and things like that. So as you can see here, it's kind of give you an idea of the size of the overall growing thing. So there's some like mops and brooms and stuff that's starting to grow there. And actually this pile was a little bit bigger a few weeks ago, and we've started to take it out. So there's some still a little bit of extra space here. You can see some empty floor space where there was actually 2 or 3 kitchens worth of boxes that were sitting there. We just had delivered them. You can see some spare pieces at the back in the back corner. This room that I'm standing in is about 20 by 30, 20 feet by 30 feet. So it's a pretty good size warehouse space, and at the front there, behind the camera right now, is the showroom. So then came the fact that we rented one of our properties and the tenants wanted it to be unfurnished. They wanted to bring their own stuff. So now, as you can imagine, we had to move 3 bedrooms. So mattresses, at least 3 mattresses, dressers, night tables, a couch, a kitchen table. So basically furnishings for a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house all had to be moved somewhere. And we couldn't very well bring it into here because we still had to use this for our kitchen cabinet business. And this monstrosity of a pile is starting to grow. And so we found ourselves in a position where it's like, business decision, we need to avail of some self-storage space. So that's kind of the mindset of a business type of person, not just a consumer, who would need some self-storage space. And so I'll walk you through what even my mentality was. And I want you to listen to what I say through the lens of an investor. And what my mind process went through was, first thing I thought of was, well, I'm a bit of a cheapo sometimes. I always thought was price. So, and then I was also thinking in terms of where can I get the cheapest self-storage unit, right? And I was also then thinking, what's the fastest way to be able to find a storage unit in my area? And actually, subconsciously, price wasn't really my first thought. It was actually what's in my area. So I'm sitting here in kind of like in a place called Castleberry, Florida, which is just north of Orlando. And our rental units, the one that we actually had to empty out, was in Kissimmee, which is more like southwest of Orlando. So it's about a 45-minute drive, almost an hour drive from where I'm standing right now. So we had to clear out that rental property unit of all the furniture and kitchen items and stuff, and very well we couldn't have it here. But then I was thinking, where am I going to put it? So first thing that actually I realized I was thinking about wasn't so much price, but it was actually proximity. Consciously, my first thought was price, because I'm sometimes a cheapo, and I know some of you can relate to me on that one. But I was really thinking, okay, I don't want to store something down. I don't want to store my stuff down in Kissimmee, which is about almost an hour drive away from me. I wanted to actually store it closer to my other store location, which is where I actually spend most of my time. So first thing was proximity. That's the most important. Is a new or aspiring or prospective self-storage customer will first think proximity. And that's why you may have caught in a previous video I said that really the markets, your competition is really in about a 3-mile radius. Beyond that, you don't really have those competitors, because I wanted to have my stuff fairly close to where either I lived or I worked, but basically closer to where I spend most of my time. So if you work from home, or if the person works from home, they're probably going to want their stuff closer to home, or closer to their workplace, or somewhere on that route. Okay, which typically people will live within a, well, I don't know, I'm generalizing here, but maybe a 3 to 5 mile radius for a lot of people is where is their general commute time. So I found myself looking for that. So I was thinking, okay, where's the first place that I look? I found myself looking on sparefoot.com. No affiliation with them or endorsing them or what have you. They're just one of these aggregators where I realized, you can go on a place like sparefoot.com, and there's a few other major players, but basically you can search multiple self-storage facilities at the same time by punching in your location and clicking on the size of the storage space that you're looking for, and then being able to compare a few different places fairly quickly, all at the same time from the comfort of your home. So that's exactly what I did. So from an owner-operator's point of view, it'd probably be a good idea to make sure that if you do have a facility, to be present on these aggregators, because this is where people are looking, right? It's almost like a nicer, higher end Craigslist is what sparefoot.com is for in terms of self-storage facilities. So I looked for a 10-foot by 20-foot space in my area, or in the area that is fairly close to my other kitchen cabinet store location, which is where I actually spend most of my time. And then from there, I started to compare price. So number one was actually proximity. Number two was price. And in the next video or the video after that, it's going to make this a bit of a mini series. I'm going to go through, I'll revisit a couple of the storage facilities that I went to take a look at. And again, another realization came through my mind. I found that I didn't have the time nor the patience to go looking at 10 different storage facilities. I actually ended up only going to 2. Now, the rule of thumb is best to always look at 3 quotes, check out 3 different locations, but I just found I didn't have the patience or the time, so I ended up just visiting 2, and then I'll walk you through my thought process as to what caused me to choose the one that I did choose. And I'll take you to my actual storage locker and I'll show you from the inside. But until then, again, my name is Coach Roel. Thanks for tuning in this time, and make sure to catch the next video where I'll walk you through what my take was on 2 of the storage facilities that I looked at for myself. Thanks again for joining us here at Self-Storage Investing. We really, really appreciate it. For more great content like this, make sure to click the subscribe button below this video. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and BiggerPockets. You can also visit us at our main website at selfstorageinvesting.com, where you'll find even more free content, our ebook, and registration to our free webinars and education courses, and much, much more. Once again, for more great content like this, please click the subscribe button below. Thank you.